Hello students, in today's class I'm going to take up the poem I Sit and Look Out. I Sit and Look Out is written by Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman was one of the most influential poets in American literature. His most famous work, Leaves of Grass, a collection of poems, was first published in 1855. It remains a milestone in the American literary canon. Whitman's long lines and flow of free verse came as something new to a generation used to a regular rhyme and rhythm. Whitman is known particularly for his espousal of democracy, and his poetry reflected the values and aspirations of the new American nation. The current poem, I Sit and Look Out, is from Whitman's seminal collection, Leaves of Grass. It's a catalogue, an acknowledgement of the various forms of oppression and shame prevalent in the world. He talks of issues such as slavery and abuse, issues that were not usually discussed in literary works in such a forthright manner. The last line abruptly switches focus on the speaker, drawing attention to the poet's and by extension the reader's response to those injustices and his role in all this. The poem and issues it addresses are as relevant today as they were when the poem was published in the 19th century. I sit and look out upon all the sorrows of the world and upon all oppression and shame. I hear secret convulsive sobs from young men at anguish with themselves remorseful after deeds done. The poet Walt Whitman is confined to the four walls of his house. He looks out and finds that the world is full of sorrows. The poet is in pain as people are oppressing one another shamelessly. He is in pain as the people are excessively cruel and are doing unjust treatment to one another. The poet also tells us that the people, after committing such shameful deeds, repent after the deeds are done. The young men, after having regretted or after they start feeling sorry for what they have done, start sobbing continuously with severe pain and sorrow. I see in low life the mother misused by her children, dying neglected, gaunt, desperate. I see the wife misused by her husband. I see the treacherous seducer of young women. The poet says that he has also seen the mothers who get misused by their own children. Either they get ignored by their own children or they do not get the love and respect which the children are supposed to give to a mother. The mother becomes desperate due to all this and finally ends up her life. The poet sees all this with disappointment. Then the poet sees the wives being misused by her own husband, where the husband turns out to seduce his own wife and betray her later. I mark the ranklings of jealousy and unrequited love attempted to be hid. I see these sights on the earth. I see the workings of battle, pestilence, tyranny. I see martyrs and prisoners. I observe a famine at sea. I observe the sailors casting lots who shall be killed to preserve the lives of the rest. The poet also sees jealousies, annoyance, and the unfulfilled, or the love which is not acknowledged by the young lovers. He sees all these sights on this earth. He also sees the cruel or an unjust government ruling the people and a deadly epidemic so harmful and hard to get rid of, and where so many people die toward and battle. He sees the martyrs and the prisoners too. The poet tries to tell us that the good people who fight for some noble cause are tortured, imprisoned, and finally hanged, and they become martyrs. He also observes a famine at the sea, where the sailors affected by the famines need to be thrown into the sea in order to save the lives of the others. I observe the slights and degradations cast by arrogant persons upon laborers, the poor, and upon Negroes, and the like. All these, all the meanness and agony without end, I sitting look out upon, see, hear, and am silent. The poet also observes the insults, the humiliations made by the arrogant people on the laborers, on the poor people, and also on the Negroes. The poet tries to tell us that the Negroes, laborers, and the poor people are made slaves by the arrogant rich people who insult them based on their color or status in life. The poet sits and looks out upon all the meanness and pain which has no end at all. He sits and listens to all this silently. He can see, he can hear, but he is silent.